What is going on, YouTube? It's your boy, Mr. Red. Now, a depreciation curve can get you a lot of car for not that much money. And if you buy a used luxury car, you can look pretty cool while doing it, assuming you can afford to repair and maintain the car long after the warranty has expired. Now, here are a few examples of heavily depreciated used luxury cars that'll make you look rich, largely because nobody knows they're cheap, but hey, we'll keep that between you and me. Shh, it's our little secret. Alright, and we're going to start the video with a 2004 Audi A8 L. Now, although the Audi A8 is more than a decade old, this body style still manages to look fairly recent, likely a result of its handsome lines, which were futuristic at the time, and its huge chrome wheels. Offered by Northwest Motorsport in the Seattle area, this A8 certainly doesn't offer the equipment of a new model, but is still surprisingly well equipped and loaded with a lot more features than any other 7,999 vehicle should reasonably have. Of course, it's also covered 137,000 miles, so you'll also have to factor in potential repair bills. Now, the A8 came with a 330 horsepower 4.2 liter V8, and you can easily find one from anywhere between $8,500 and $7,500. And now we're going to make our way to the 2003 Maserati Spyder. Coming in with a 4.2 liter V8 producing 390 horsepower, the Maserati Spyder is still a gorgeous car, even 14 years later. But persistent issues with reliability and other ownership costs, along with a highly questionable transmission, have substantially hampered values. This 2003 Spyder is offered for just $17,900. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Honda Fit money, and that's well within the going rate for these Spyders. Nonetheless, if you get a Maserati Spyder, most people just see the Maserati badge in the front and the back, and they'll never know you spent less than a base level Honda Civic costs. And now, next up on the list, we actually have a Porsche. That's right, I'm talking about the 1998 to 2001 Porsche Boxster. Now, Porsche's departure from the classic air-cooled 911 engine was a serious consideration, but the swift-revving water-cooled 2.5 liter 201 horsepower Boxster engine quelled all staff concerns. The horizontally positioned opposed Boxster engine is an eager power plant that can push the 2,822 Roadster from 0 to 60 in just 6.0 seconds and deliver better than 28 miles per gallon on the highway at post-legal speeds. And here's the best part, you can actually get your hands on a Porsche Boxster from the years that I mentioned, from anywhere between $7,000 and $10,000. And now moving on to our first Benz on the list, we're talking about the 2007 Mercedes-Benz S550. Now, I still remember when this body style of Mercedes-Benz S-Class first went on sale for the 2007 model year. The precious body style, which it replaced, had a ho-hum design and was already declining quickly in value. The new one was an amazing breath of fresh air that made it seem like the beauty and excellence was back in the Mercedes lineup. Now, back then, these S-Classes cost $100,000 or more, but now you can get one a lot cheaper. For example, this 2007 S550 is offered with 83,000 miles for just $18,995. And this is just merely one of the many for sale with the similar asking prices. Now, this Mercedes came with 382 horsepower and 391 foot-pounds of torque. And speaking of Mercedes, we have the 2003 Mercedes-Benz SL500, currently in the market between $19,000 and $17,500. Now, while it was lacking in the power department, only producing 302 horsepower and 339 foot-pounds of torque, the 2003 Mercedes-Benz SL500 was one of the first convertibles with a retractable hardtop. And back in 2003, it was considered high-tech, ultra-cool, and hard to find. That's no longer the case though, as SL models from the early to mid-2000s are now well under $20,000. This one looks to be in pretty nice shape. These Mercedes even boast well-kept exteriors and interiors, and the moment you drop that hardtop, everyone will think you paid a lot more than $17,000 for it. And we couldn't make a luxury car list without mentioning the Range Rover. Of course, I'm talking about the 2003 Range Rover. The Range Rover. Now, while the Range Rovers usually do have some issues, they never really usually leave you stranded. More importantly, when it's working right, driving it is the greatest feeling in the world. The exterior is comfortable, quiet, and still luxurious, even 14 years after it came out. Offered for just $7,999. You can find these Range Rovers worth anywhere under 100,000 miles easily within these price ranges. But most people will assume it's a lot more valuable than it actually is. Now, the Range Rover did come with a 4.4 liter V8 producing 282 horsepower, but keep in mind this thing was super heavy, coming in at 5,379 pounds. But for $8,000 you can have yourself a Range Rover, and if you ask me, that's definitely worth it. And last on our list, we have the 1988 Rolls-Royce Silver Spur, coming in at a super affordable $23,000. Now, the Rolls-Royce Silver Spur is quite possibly the king of looking rich for not that much money. And even though it's over 20 years old, and even though it's covered in nearly 100,000 miles, and even though it costs the same as a new Sentra, most people will still assume you've got a lot of money if you rolled up in this thing. And they might be right, as maintaining and repairing an old Rolls-Royce is no picnic. But if you spend even just a moment inside that ultra quiet interior, you might just decide it's worth it. Now, you got to keep in mind the Rolls-Royce is no race car with a 0 to 60 time of 10.2 seconds. But when you're pulling up in a Rolls-Royce, the last thing you're worried about is 0 to 60.